The August 8th, 2018 meeting of the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is charged with conducting hearings to determine whether an alleged violation of the city has occurred. Decisions made by this quasi-judicial board will be based on the evidence and the facts presented tonight. Our meetings are conducted in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, and each case will begin with the city presenting its evidence and the alleged violation. The respondents will then present his or her case. Both parties will have an opportunity to cross-examine all witnesses, and the board members may ask questions of any witness. Comments by both parties must be relevant to the case. Persons wishing to speak will be given an opportunity to do so by the chair, and must address the board from the podium after giving their name and address. Upon request, copies of materials submitted by the staff are available for review. Board members are reminded to obtain permission to speak from the chair, and questions of the city should be directed to the city attorney. At this time, I will ask all persons who expect to give testimony tonight to stand and be sworn in by the Deputy City Clerk.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony or evidence you're about to give or present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Cases will be taken out of order to accommodate respondents and witnesses present at tonight's meeting. And before we get there, approval of the minutes. Has everyone read the minutes? Any changes? Any requests? Any motion? Motion to approve?
Second.
I'll second.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stevenson, I believe you're going to speak to us? You want to be the first one?
I would love to be the first one.
Okay.
This isn't going to be on though, right? Don't you time me.
I got mine on here.
Oh, my goodness. I appreciate the ability to come before you again, and I know I appreciate you taking me out of order. We've got a couple things that I just kind of want to get brought back up. We've got an item that is undone with business with the board. After our last meeting, we had given you guys a book of orientation on statutes and rules and regulations and a whole bunch of stuff for you to read and digest. I've spoken with Richard. Richard came up with a couple comments out of that book, but I hadn't heard back from anybody else. So as we move forward here, we need to start making some of these changes if we're in fact going to propose some changes to that. That will actually come through our office so that we can take it to council. That being said, I'll remind you, if you've read these things and you want to make some, now you can't change Florida statute, okay? But to the rules and regulations and certainly some of the policies and procedures. I think we put a lien procedure in there that we recently kind of put in writing. If you've got some comments or some suggestions on changing that or improving it or modifying it in any way, just let me know, please. The sooner we can get to that, the better. I just assume to tackle it while it's fresh in everybody's mind. The undone business is that of getting a legal representation for this board. We still have not done anything with that. I think last time we spoke, there seems to be just not a consensus, if you would, of your board. And I would like to remind you that we still have not done anything with it. The arrangement that we had with the Tampa attorney, we have not moved on. They're becoming a little impatient. Either we do it or we don't do it. I don't know that I don't know that I have any suggestions for you. This is the board's decision. But I need to remind you that we need to move forward with this. We still have this lingering matter that isn't being taken care of. So if it is the board's desire to hire someone else other than the Tampa attorney, I'd like for the board to give me direction to do that with some suggestions. I know that there was a lot of confusion or indecision on whether he would be here every meeting, whether he'd be here every other meeting, or on a call-on-call basis. I'm not going to set those parameters. The board needs to set those parameters, but I don't know that I can get you representation until you give me those parameters to work off of. That being said, I'm not in a position, nor am I comfortable without a consensus from this board taking any kind of recommendation to city council, who ultimately needs to approve this. My personal opinion is it's a good arrangement. I know that there were a few of you on the board that has some anxiety with some of the arrangement. That you need to filter out through your own board. I don't want to be the filter here. Okay, I think it's a good deal. But if you choose not to move forward with it, you need to let me know. Okay. They need to have an answer, and I think they deserve to have an answer. We've dragged this thing on now for 6 weeks, so.
Couple months.
So I will leave it at that. Again, just remind you that if you've got changes or suggestions, get them to me, email them, call me, give them to Kristen, they'll get to me. There are a couple things that we will bring back to the board through your code director that need to be cleaned up in the rules and regulations to kind of clarify things just a little bit as far as presentation of lien petitions, so on and so forth. I mean, the way that it currently reads, the city manager is supposed to do it.
Right.
That's never been discussed, although that's the rules and procedures. I don't want to do it. So we need to change.
It worked all right last night. We agree.
I got enough to present to council. I mean, I certainly don't mind. If you guys want me to do it, I'll accommodate you. I'm just telling you, it's one of those things over the years that has gone and fell through the wayside, and procedures get changed without changing paperwork, and we work off code and ordinances. They ought to be correct, and we ought to follow what's in the books. So, that being said, I appreciate a few minutes, but I really have to emphasize that we need to do something with this attorney. And again, it makes no difference to me what direction you guys want to go. So,
Have you got a couple minutes? I got a couple questions for you.
sure.
We have 3 of our board members here tonight that weren't at the meeting, so this is all kind of new to them. And I'll promote the book. You each got one of these tonight. And so if you would go through and read it, like Mr. Stevenson said, that if you have any questions, you can stop in and see our Deputy City Clerk, Kristen. She'd be happy to take your comments and questions, and if necessary, Mr. Stevenson will sit with you. The other thing is that, would you be able to, I'm putting you on the spot here, but would you be able to do another meeting after the September meeting, our board meeting? Could we schedule
Like
that so that we could,
Another workshop kind of.
kind of a workshop to get this thing put to bed?
Richard, whatever needs to be done.
Okay.
Whatever time you need out of me, you just let me know.
I think if we plan that and we
That's
get it
fine.
notified, and everybody that wants to be there and have input can be there, and
Well, again, I think the
we-
last time we talked, you didn't even have a full,
Right.
you had a couple absent members then. So I do think it's something that comprehensively needs to be done so that everybody's on board and everybody knows what's going on. So,
right. And just, you probably know about this, but Mr. Schoen, give us a copy of the email that was sent around to all the different people. And it was kind of begun by an email from Mr. Lloyd, one of our board members. And that's what this is for you all to read. And that also goes with your book, and we'll be discussing it again at their meeting. Because we don't meet other than here. So just want to let everyone know that it isn't something that we go and sit down and we,
Understand.
at least we haven't, so. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Actually, I have one more question. When we're talking about the parameters of the attorney, from my understanding, the attorney doesn't necessarily represent us. They're more of a legal sounding board. So we can determine what we're doing is legal or not. Would you say that's correct?
But I would think that's a fair assumption, yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
He will not represent you in court. He will give you legal advice here in making a decision or moving forward in a matter.
Okay, because the
Okay.
way the discussion was going, it seemed like people weren't really sure what the attorney was there to do.
He's
So
not there to represent you. If you guys end up going to court, he's not there to represent you.
That's what I
You're on
thought.
your own.
Thank you.
Well, you're not on your own. We'll help you. I mean, we're not gonna let you guys
You'll
get
prosecute.
We shouldn't need to get there.
Well, hopefully you don't get yourself in trouble. So,
Okay,
okay?
any other questions?
Just one quick one. What's the time period for the contract, the length of it with the city, Tampa? Or proposed
It was
time?
on a year-to-year basis.
Okay. Is there any walk away in the middle of it?
It was on a year-to-year basis, and it can be terminated by just notice to either party.
30 days notice.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't bind us very much, to be honest with you. It's not even a contract, it's more of just a memorandum of understanding that we're doing with them. We're just exchanging services, so.
You know, and I'll comment, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, being a newbie on this group, it seems extremely strange to me that we don't have some type of representation to guide us as being proposed, and not knowing the history and not really interested in digging back through what's been said or not been said over years or months, it seems foolish for us to proceed without it. I mean, it's, and I would hope we would bring this thing in for a landing much sooner. I don't know if you're asking for us to consider it tonight, and I'm not sure that we're ready to consider it tonight, but
Well,
I get the sense of urgency that something needs to be done, and, from my personal standpoint, I think it should be done.
Well, there is a sense of urgency. You need to have representation. Whether or not, we had a private attorney that was on board in the past, but I don't know that I ever met the man. I've been around for a while, but, not that he is needed to be here all the time. And again, that's something that this board needs to decide. I know that Mr. Mueller from Tampa was expected to be here at all the meetings. And we were expected to be at his meetings in fair trade. So if the board decides that they don't need an attorney full-time, that's fine, but that's up to this board. I'm not gonna make that decision. This board needs to make that decision. But I do know that the attorney that we had representing was very seldom called on to do anything.
Twice in my time.
So, I mean, as far
There
as my
were
knowledge,
there were conversations, perhaps, Andy, you would be able to answer that, but those are when we think we're gonna have an issue. Every case doesn't present itself to have a legal issue with,
Right.
because they just don't, or the history has proven they don't. Hopefully, we don't get into that kind of situation.
Well, yeah, one of the purpose of the attorney representing the board, that if you guys are going off in the wrong direction, it may get you in trouble, he can steer you back on course, okay? And essentially, that's what that person is there for. If you guys don't have him here every meeting and you start steering off course and you get yourself in trouble, then he can't really digest everything that's happened without going back and looking at tapes and minutes and whatnot. And that's just not an in-person representation. But there is a sense of urgency. Tampa's getting impatient. Again, there are a handful of people that don't think it's a good idea, but I can tell you there's a handful of people that think it's a good idea. This board needs to be the one that decides, okay? Not that handful of people that want it or a handful of people that don't want it.
Right.
This board, and you need to have a full board here, and I understand that you're missing a couple representatives tonight. So there is a sense of urgency, and I do recommend that somebody, whether they're even here on an on-call basis, be retained in order to provide you that direction. So,
For the next meeting regarding the attorney, should we expect the same level of communication as something like this? Because I know I didn't know about the meeting until the code board was over. I don't think I was the only one who was kind of caught off guard by that.
As
So
far as
we're-
the,
yeah, we didn't know that the meeting was even taking place, so I wasn't prepared to go into the meeting.
I don't know, which meeting are you talking about?
The
The workshop after the meeting?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we'll take care of that.
And so I just want to make sure that communication's going on. Again, people aren't here tonight, people aren't there, we have a sense of urgency. You know, we need to make sure that everyone's on board and everyone can participate.
We'll make sure that something comes, and if you would work with Mr. Barone and come up with some kind of agenda that you want, let us know so we can prepare ourselves as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Our liaison with the city, Mr. Ross, Councilman Ross, would you care to speak to your experience with our city attorney that we had, our board attorney? Because you have more history than I do with him. I only met him twice.
Good afternoon,
Just for
gentlemen.
the board.
Andy Ross, City Council. I did have contact with him on a much more frequent basis than that. It was not every week or every meeting about every agenda, but there was often email exchanges back and forth about lien reductions that would come up or procedural things that would come up. And this person wants to address the council or the board on this topic, or should, at what point. So there were communications. Now, we only physically saw him here a few times. I only met him in person 3 or 4 times probably, but I communicated with him much more than that. That's all you wanted to know?
That's all I wanted,
Okay.
just because I never had any conversations with him other than here in the evening when he was here.
Right.
But also in my experience is that we never had really, in our meetings, we never had legal confrontation is the word. I don't know what the word would be, that legal need, basically. It was more like a procedural thing that we were going, we've been off the reservation a few times here, and that, I would expect him, or whoever the person would be, that would have interrupted our rantings and brought us back to the real obvious issues of the
But
night.
the only thing I would submit on that, Fred, I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other, it's up to you guys, but, you know, having spent a lot of time in the courtroom and having spent a lot of time in this room, you don't always know when you're gonna need an attorney. And if you had somebody there to tell you, wait a minute, procedurally, that was a mistake. For instance, you know, 6 minutes ago, you guys didn't ever vote on the minutes. You made a motion, you made a second, you never called a vote. The city attorney represents the city, not you. There's nobody here to stop the meeting and say, guys, you forgot to call for the vote. Had you had an attorney here,
He would have said,
they would have sat there and said, hey, guys, you forgot to call for the vote. So I don't say that to embarrass anybody, but already in this meeting, there's been a procedural mistake. They happened. They happened under my tenure also. I'm not beating up on you. They happened when I was here. We didn't have the option during previous tenure of having somebody here all the time. Is it overkill? I don't know. I mean, maybe he'll sit here and you guys will never forget to take a vote, or you'll never wander off, you know, the script again, or you'll never say something inadvertent on the dais like, well, I know because I talked to somebody at Publix, and, well, you know, that's not in evidence. You know, you won't know what you don't know because nobody's here to say, hold on.
all right.
And so, well, I told you I wasn't here to sway you. I'm not. But I would say that what we do here is important.
It is.
It is, we do this every month, and it becomes a little, okay, we hear the case, we make a ruling, we go, okay, $50 a day. It's important, and it impacts the lives of our citizens. It really, when you levy a fine, even a low fine, even a $50 a day fine, that's a lot of money. You're making a finding of guilt against, don't forget that most of the time that the respondents are citizens also, so they deserve a fair hearing. And when you levy a fine, it's a big deal to people. And I don't mean to imply that you're not taking it seriously. I think every one of you are, but the gravity of what this board does, I think if we have an opportunity to get some, I'd rather err on having somebody here that we don't need. That would be my opinion, but that's not for me to say, that's for you to say. But anyway.
All right, thank
Any
you.
other questions for me?
Wonderful.
Okay.
And we will correct our error.
I didn't mean to point that out. I'm just saying these things happen. They're innocent, but they happen.
Yes.
And they happen on other boards, they happen on city council too, but we have our attorney right here to say, hey, you guys need to stick to the motion or whatever the case may be. Good night.
Thank you. A call for a vote on the motion to approve the minutes?
Question about that, I wasn't here. So
Okay.
I can't approve them, I can't approve minutes, can I? Can I?
As long as you read them
Yeah,
and you don't have any corrections to them, that's what you're approving.
okay.
Okay, most of us weren't, some of us weren't here. Maybe I'm the only one that, you were
Yeah,
here.
I was here.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, and all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay? No nays. Okay. Before the hearing of the first case, I want to speak on ex parte communications. It's out of the American Board of Association, and it's Rule 29.9.c, and C reads, "A judge shall not investigate facts in a matter, a case, in our case, independently, and shall consider only the evidence presented and any facts that may properly be judicially be noticed." So I will be asking after each case is presented by Kristen, by our deputy city attorney, clerk, this question. And what it involves is if you've had communications outside this room on any case. And if you have, then you will have to speak to us about it, okay? Okay, so we ready to go?
Yes. The first case will be case number 182637, City versus Yasto Ventures LLC for property located at 315 Brentwood Drive. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 10(3)B sanitation grass weeds. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Jose Silva. City is evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Jose Silva, Co-Compliance Officer. This case originated June 18, 2018. My inspection at the time revealed the yard grass overgrown. Since the residence was vacant, I mailed door hangers to the registered LLC with a compliance date of June 26, 2018. An inspection on June 26, 2018 revealed no change, so a notice of violation was issued with a compliance date of July 6, 2018. The home was vacant, so I posted a notice at the home as well as City Hall, and also mailed copies both certified and regular mail to the address of the registered owner. On July 6, 2018, I inspected the property, found the yard grass mowed, which time the property was brought into compliance. On July 26, 2018, I noticed that the yard grass was again overgrown, which time I set it for a court date in front of the board. This time, I would like to submit one photograph showing the yard grass overgrown taken by me on July 26, 2018.
Board will accept.
On July 31st, I re-inspected the property and found that the yard grass has been cut. I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance showing that the yard grass has been cut. I'm just looking for a finding at this time.
Board will accept. Any comments? Any questions, of Mr. Silva? Motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
There's someone in the gallery.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was, I thought we were good.
Ron Kabakov, I'm representing Yes2. I just want to bring to your attention that we're based out of Largo. The property is a little far for us. We do have a professional property manager, and we actually have, they work with a lawn mowing service. I have 2 receipts here from them supposedly providing service at specific dates. How do I present this?
Board will accept, present it.
We did receive the notices, and we asked the property management to take care of it. Obviously, based on what was said here today, it may not have been done at the specific speed that was supposed to, but that's why I'm here today. I want to let you know that we're responsive and responsible, and we'll make sure that the property looks good. It actually goes against our incentive, to try and get the property sold. We want to make it look as good as possible. So I'd like you to take into consideration the fact that, we are paying for service. The service should be there every 2 weeks on a regular basis. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Motion, please.
I've got a question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Quick question for you, sir, and either for Mr. Silva. You just said that they're supposed to mow every 2 weeks.
Yes.
And I understand probably because it's a cost issue as much as it is anything. From your experience, Mr. Silva, is every 2 weeks mowing going to keep him in line?
2 weeks is the furthest you can go at this time of year with the grass being cut, not being cut. 2 weeks is max.
Okay. So
What-
you understand that your guy misses a couple of days because it rains,
Yeah.
you may have a problem.
And we can shorten the duration.
And the issue with this property is, this is the second notice of violation that I've had to go to on this property, because in the past, it's gotten really tall and high.
I understand. And we'll take that into consideration, and I'm happy to put it on a 10-day rotation.
Mr. Silva, do you have his contact information?
We'll get it.
Yeah,
That would help, because maybe you can go directly to him.
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, now, do we have a motion? Do you have a comment or a motion?
The gentleman's name again? Just testified.
Eran, E-R-A-N, and last name Kabakov, K-A, B as in boy, A, K-O-V as in Victor.
I'll try and get that right. Okay, I'll make a motion. Based on the testimony of Code Compliance Officer Silva and Evan Kabalov, who's representing Yesto Ventures LLC, presented to the board at this hearing, and the documentary evidence received by the board, I make a motion that the board find Yesto Ventures LLC in case number 18-2637 to be guilty of violating sections 10-3 subsection B of the city code. But because the property was brought into compliance before the date of this hearing, no fine shall be assessed.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Newkirk. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. No nay. Next case, please.
Case number 183146, City versus Terrace, Irene Oyoro Castro for property located at 12701 North 53rd Street. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 12 921, parking residential property. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Director Baroni. City is evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good
Has
evening,
there-
Tom.
Has there been any ex parte communications on this case? None.
Sorry about that. Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This case this evening originated proactively on July 19, 2018. My inspection each morning noted a white van parked in the front yard, which is a non-durable surface. Since the owner was warned in the past, a notice of violation was prepared that same day with a compliance date of July 26, 2018. I posted the notice at the front door and requested copies be sent out certified and first-class mail. I also requested a copy be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. My early morning inspections on July 27, 2018 noted no change. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence of the violation that was taken by me on July 27, 2018. Notes of vehicle parked on a non-durable surface. I'd like to submit.
Board will accept.
As of today's date, there has been some improvements at the property. Someone started putting a border attached to the existing driveway. They put some gravel, maybe about 20% of gravel around the perimeter. But however, the inspection this morning noted a vehicle still parked on the dirt area. So it still remains out of compliance. And the owner's husband is here tonight.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Baroni? Director Baroni? Any?
Thank you.
Okay, sir, would you like to come up?
Would you like to come up?
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Paul Rivera, and what Tom has said is correct. The situation that we're dealing with is that we have been notified of an intent to foreclose on our property, and we are currently fighting that with a bank. There was a trial on June 28th of this year, and that trial, because the attorney of the plaintiff, as I told Tom, did not have her ducks in a row, the judge said that that trial should be postponed for 3 months, which would be September of this year. And I don't know if we're gonna be able to stay in the house or not. So what I am requesting from this board is to give me until October 1st, since the judge said that the new trial has to be in September. So both attorneys are getting together. They're gonna find the date or set on the date for the new trial. And if I leave the property, then it's the bank's responsibility. If I stay in the property, then it would make sense for me to make that investment in preparing the area as code enforcement wants. I have a copy of the notice of foreclosure and the notice from the court where they give us the date for the first trial, which was in June. And then there's another that shows that has been moved. So maybe I should present this to you, or you guys don't want it, whatever you say.
You can present it.
Yeah?
Board will accept. And do you need copies of this back, or are these copies for us?
No, I'm doing this without my attorney's consent, so I want to show you that, but I can't give you copies or allow you to take pictures or anything, because, again, I'm doing it, I'm being represented by an attorney, and
And what I'd like to do is is not take it. And we'll go back to not seeing it. Okay, you can present it, you can talk about it.
Okay.
But we don't want it as record.
Thank you, sir.
On- on the visual,
want
on
to
the
get in problems
paper.
with my attorney, because, if he, as I said, I did not consult with him to show this, but this shows that the bank is attempting to foreclose. We had a trial on June 28th of this year, and in September, by the judge's order, in September, we have to have a retrial and like find out if we're gonna stay in the house or not. As I said, if we do not, we lose, then we've gotta vacate the property. If we win, then we'll stay and we'll make the investment necessary to bring the house up to compliance. I told Tom that also there's some privacy fencing. We repaired about half of the privacy fencing, and the other half looks awful, but it's still standing and whatnot, and I told him that if we stay, that's another thing I want to do, replace the privacy fencing that really looks awful, put it so that it's looking nice, so.
Looking at the picture, and I may be all wrong on this, but there were there were 3 cars in the area of the driveway. And I believe there were some white rocks around a larger parking space where there was a van parked. That looked like there was brick.
It's stones, it's gravel.
Is it stones?
Yes, you can see it on the screen.
Okay. Then the car, is the car the one that's in violation?
The white van,
It's an,
Well,
is that
but
not
there-
an impervious surface?
that's correct. It's a dirt area.
That's dirt?
Yes.
Oh, it's the checks in the fence and makes it look like brick. Okay, I'm sorry.
So I actually have a question. Why can't you park in the driveway and just move and shuffle your cars around? I'm kind of,
Because of the, like, my wife has to leave, my son has to leave, and
I
like.
know, but we're here tonight talking about your vehicles
Uh-huh.
not being placed in the right, they're not under the right surface.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you're here tonight talking about it, when simply you could just park your car in the driveway and probably wouldn't be here. And I understand your plight with your foreclosure and everything, but not really here to talk about foreclosure. We're talking about why your car is not parked on the right surface, that's
Well,
it.
And actually, there's one car missing there. Because, so, as I say, if we're gonna put all the cars inside, we still have the issue of space.
You gotta move your cars. I mean, you have to move your car around. You'd have to
Yeah.
back your car up and let the other car leave, and then you could park your car back on the
Yeah,
driveway.
but as I say in the picture, there's one car missing.
Okay,
So that car, like, if we want to put because there's one vehicle that still has its tag,
Uh-huh.
that one is over, and I'm going to get rid of that one, like, within the next 30, 60 days. But right now, currently, there are 4 vehicles, and if we have one of them in the dirt area, the other one, the white minivan, and another one up front in the garage, so the 4th one would park, blocking all 3 vehicles. So, do you follow me?
I do follow.
Uh-huh.
I follow.
Like, then I'm not following you.
No, I follow. I didn't realize there was a 4th car, but,
Yeah.
if I park my car behind my wife, I usually have to move my car out of the driveway, and it's kind of just that simple. And I understand you have 4 cars, and you are out of parking, is my understanding, but,
Exactly.
so, okay.
The case before us tonight is about the violation of parking on the impervious surface, or on the dirt, basically. And what we have to do is determine not whether you have a foreclosure, because that's immaterial to the case. It's an unpleasantry, but the correction of the violation is to put rock down, finish putting the rock down, or do something with the cars to correct the situation. So in our case here tonight, we're going to be doing a finding on the violation, not on your situation, okay? Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Can you park on the street where you live?
Yeah,
Okay.
like, is it okay for me to park on the street?
So if you park on the, you got 4 cars.
Okay.
If you park one of them on the street or 2 of them on the street, your problem's solved, other than you rotate cars.
Well, then excuse my ignorance, because I thought that parking in the street is like the same thing.
So let me just make sure you understand that, sir. You can park in the street area as long as you move the vehicle within 24 hours.
Okay.
So that's the law, okay? That's, okay.
So if he moves them around every 24 hours.
And
it should-
obviously, because everybody's trying to make a living, so.
Yeah, I mean, that would fix the problem. We wouldn't need to worry about his other issue at all. And as he gets this other issue worked out, and if he stays there or whatever, if he puts the rocks down and it meets the code, then he's fine.
Just one
Would I
other
be-
thing.
am I
He could
correct?
actually put, looking at the photo, he could line 3 vehicles in that driveway.
Yeah,
And he just has to maneuver the vehicles. If the first car wants to get out, he's got to move 2 vehicles out and get the first car out. So, but that driveway is long enough where you could fit 3 vehicles in that driveway. Thank you.
seems like that would be a way to work this out with
So then
Director
the
Barone.
solution would be not like, yeah, okay, then, but with regards to the dirt, what I am attempting to tell the board is that, like, for me to make that investment, because I went to Home Depot and, like, I bought 10 bags of rocks, and it didn't do anything there, and he saw like nothing, like just the borders. I said, what is this? So, like, to make that investment of money when I don't know if I'm gonna be in the house in the next 60 days, so that's my predicament. And that's why I'm requesting from the board to give me time. But again, I think the solution is the street, number one, and then just abandon not park there anymore, and just do it in a line, and that's that.
Then you don't have to buy the rocks, whether you're staying or going.
No, but we will get the rocks.
It's up to you
It-
at that point.
Yeah, right, I follow, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. What we normally, you ask, just because you asked to extend to October, we as a board do not do that as a rule. We go out to 30 days, and if you need to come back in 30 days, in this case, you should be able to resolve it tomorrow. But.
Or tonight.
Or tonight.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Motion, please.
Thank you.
I think I'll make the attempt.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I'm supposed to use
Mr.
number
Nopke.
1.
Yes.
Okay. Based upon the testimony of Director Barone and Paul Rivera, presented to the board at this hearing, and the documentary evidence received by the board, I make a motion that the board find Teresa Irene Arroyo Castro in case number 183146 to be guilty of violating sections 1291, 12921 of the city code, and give the respondents until August 15th to come into compliance with the code sections in question. If the property is not brought into compliance at that date, a fine of $50 a day per day shall begin to accrue on the following, on August the 16th, and continue to accrue until the date that the violator provides the city with evidence that the property has been brought into compliance.
The date is August 8th, I believe.
September, 30 days out, September 20th.
I was,
September.
I was,
But he was-
I was
he was
breaking the,
7 days
I was
out.
breaking the protocol and
Yeah.
giving them 7 days, because reality is, they can go do it tonight, as opposed to taking it out that length of time. And if that breaks what we do, then tell me no.
Well, we can do it. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Any
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Okay. Thank you, sir.
We have an unfinished business case that we're gonna jump to. Case number 181866, City versus Cerberus SFR Holdings LP for property located at 5310 Rainbow Drive. The expiration of compliance is tonight at midnight, and the respondent is here, and he can come on up.
Hello, Ken Trenoris, 2230 Everest Parkway, Cape Coral, Florida. I'm here representing the owners of the home and First Key Homes. I visited with you guys about a month ago about the same situation. The update as of today is our general contractor has secured an engineer. We have paid him $1,500 so far. We're waiting for him to draft the engineering for the new column for the support post. And then when my general contractor has that, he'll be pulling the permits and expediting the project at that time. As of today, we do not have the drawings back yet from the engineer,
Okay,
and I'm requesting a little more time.
all right. Does the code have any issues with extending more time?
I appreciate you, sir, coming tonight, and I would give him 30 days from today to the next hearing, and maybe if he has to come back again to give us an update.
Okay,
That'd be
hopefully he'll give us an update that it's complete.
Right.
Even
Okay.
better.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I need a motion to, are there any questions of him first? I need a motion to extend for 30 days.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Westfall. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay. You have been extended until, hopefully you'll be done before then, but if you're
Fingers
not,
It's a long drive.
right. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks.
We are now gonna move to our lien reduction. And Director Brony will be presenting.
Tom Barone, Code Compliance. At this time, I would like to present this lien reduction petition request in case number 17-0723, City versus HM Investing LLC, property located at 8208 Volusia Place with a lien amount of $8,700.
Tom, I want to ask my question.
You want to ask your question?
Yeah. Has there been any ex parte communications on this case?
No.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No problem.
A drive by the property today noted a clean yard, trees trimmed. The owner installed a new fence. The exterior walls have been painted. Based on the new improvements at this property, my recommendation is to lower the lien from $8,700 to $2,300. I calculated using the 20% of the lien amount, which would be $1,740, and adding the city cost of $560, totaling $2,300. I would also like to mention to the board that this lien petition was presented to the Code Board back on February of 2018, which I presented to the board a photo of the fence violation. Just to remind you, it was 2 panels of fence that was in disrepair. And I also presented the matrix calculator, which gave the petitioner no reduction. That evening, the board voted in favor of 4-3 vote not to reduce the lien and keep it at $8,700. This petitioner has purchased other properties here in Temple Terrace and has improved the neighborhood by buying these distressed properties. This petitioner did not cause the violation, and he is aware when he purchased it that there was a lien on the property. I still stand at my recommendation to lower the lien to $2,300. The petitioner is here tonight, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions of Director Barone at this time? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sir, would you like to come up? You don't want to come up?
I'm okay with the $2,300. I mean, I can come up.
Well,
Thank you. Good evening. Most of the people who work here actually know me.
Name and
My name
address.
is Maleti. I'm a contractor.
Milady?
Maleti. First name is Isham. I'm a contractor, and I've been living in Temple Terrace since 1999. Like I said, everybody knows me upstairs, downstairs, and I specialize as well in distressed homes. And I do my lien search, and I know that they have problems and stuff like that. So my job is to, to beautify the neighborhood, and I appreciate you all's time. I've been here before a few times, and I was pretty successful into reducing all the liens, and I'm asking you again to do so. I was initially asking for $1,500, but I'm happy with the $2,300, Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there's been a recommendation for reduction to $2,300, and I would need a motion if we wish to assess.
I got a question when you're done.
Okay, for who?
Maybe for council if we had one, but I say that, since we voted before to impose a lien, do we need a motion to undo the first lien?
No, because it wasn't accepted by the council.
City
Okay.
Council.
Okay,
It was a different petitioner also.
okay, okay, just making sure.
Okay? A motion?
I'll make the
Anyone?
motion at least
Okay.
to try to get it on the for discussion, make a motion to accept Director Baroni's recommendation to lower the lien to $2,300 or proposed lien.
On case 170723.
Yes.
And I'll second.
Is there any discussion? We have a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No nays. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, that amount would have to be paid within 30 days of the council's acceptance.
First thing in the morning, I'll stop by.
Take his money, we can always give it back.
Appreciate that.
You should wait till the council.
If they were all that, he has to.
Ready for the next
I'm
case?
ready for the next case.
Did you ask your question?
I did on that one.
We will start back at the beginning of the agenda now on new cases. So will be case number 181935, City versus Scott Pawlowski for property located at 9809 North 52nd Street. Case is before the board based on alleged violation of section 1031 subsection 3 sanitation sweepings. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Doug Allen. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated proactively on May 10th, 2018. My inspection revealed that the area between the rear fence and sidewalk behind the townhouse had not been maintained. This time I left a door hanger with a compliance date of May 24th, 2018. My inspection on May 25th showed no change, so a notice of violation was issued on June 5th with a compliance date of June 12th. No one was at home, so I posted the notice at the home as well as City Hall. Copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the property owner. My inspection on June 15th showed no change. This time I would like to submit photographic evidence taken by me on August the 1st.
Okay, just hold up on that. Has anyone had any ex parte communications on this case?
No.
Board will accept.
Exhibit number 1 shows some overgrown conditions, and as of this date, there has been no change, and therefore the property remains out of compliance.
Any questions of Mr. Allen?
I have spoken, or the property owner has contacted me a couple of times, and he has asked me to meet with one of his contractors tomorrow to hopefully resolve the issue.
Okay. Is it a rental property?
Yes, sir. And it's in the rental program.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm assuming this is on the sidewalk?
Yeah, it's between a fence and a sidewalk, probably a depth of 3 feet, and the width of the lots, maybe 35 feet. So we're talking, you know, a little over 100 square foot area that has to be weed whacked, sprayed, something. It's pretty minimal. It's gonna take longer for whoever to do it, to drive there than it is to do the.
Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome.
Allen. Can I get a motion on this?
Guess I'll do it.
Okay, Mr. Plow.
You have a stab at it. Based on the testimony of Code Compliance Officer Allen presented to the board at this hearing and the documentary evidence received by the board, I make a motion that the board find Scott Pelowski in case number 18-1935 to be guilty of violating sections 10-31 subsection 3 of the city code and give the respondents until September 12th, 2018 to come into compliance with the code sections in question. If the property is not brought into compliance by that date, a fine of $50 per day shall begin to accrue on the day following the compliance date of September 13th, 2018, and continue to accrue until the date that the violator provides the city with evidence that the property has been brought into compliance.
Motion, do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Westfall. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay, no nays.
The next case will be case number 182568, City versus Rictavia Shawan and Riolani M. Green for property located at 217 South River Hills Drive. The case is before the board based on the alleged violation of Section 10-3B sanitation grass weeds, Section 8-102-13H windows and exterior doors maintained in good repair, Section 8-102-18A sanitation shared area duty to maintain, and Section 12-901 pools duty to maintain. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Jose Silva. City is evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated on June 13th of 2018. Inspection at the time noticed the front yard was overgrown. There was broken garage door windows, broken residential window on the north side of the residence, vines growing on the residence, walls into the soffit, and the pool with unsanitary water. This time I left door hangers at the residence with a compliance date of June 27, 2018. An inspection on June 27, 2018 revealed no change, so I issued a notice of violation with a compliance date of July 12, 2018. The home was vacant, so I posted a notice at the home as well as City Hall, also mailed copies, both certified and regular mail, to the registered owner of the residence. On July 12, 2018, I re-inspected the residence and found no change at the property. This time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence taken of the violations by me on July 12. I have 5 photographs taken by me that day.
Has there been any ex parte communications on this case?
No.
Board will accept.
Wait, other than driving by it every day? No.
Photograph number 1 is going to be the overgrown front yard. Photograph number 2 is going to be the broken window on the north side of the residence. Photograph 3 is going to be the broken garage door windows. Number 4 is going to be the vines growing into the soffits on the south side of the residence. And 5 is going to be the pool water in unsanitary condition. The pool is enclosed with a pool cage, and all the screens are intact, and it's secured at this time. Also, question, I did come into contact with the owner last week. He was there at the residence, Mr. Green, and was planning on moving back into the residence. At that time, I had a conversation with him and asked him, please get the yard cut as quickly as possible. Advised him of the board hearing tonight to appear, and of course, he's not here. Also told him about the additional fine that he had at the residence and asked him to please clear that staining that he has on the wall from a previous case. We can close that case out. So that's where we stand.
Was he friendly about it?
Yeah, he was very friendly about it. He apparently moved it down from New Jersey, just got out of the military and is here from New Jersey. The house was in a foreclosure where the bank was moving to execute a foreclosure on it and has pulled back from the foreclosure hearing on it. So he's now the owner still of the house.
Okay.
So it's vacant then, at this point?
Excuse me?
It's vacant?
It's still vacant. He said he was planning on moving in
Estimate
as of
date?
last week,
How long has it been vacant, do you know?
months.
Okay. And he didn't give you a date as to when he expects to move back in? I take it?
He said he was, last week when I was there, he had a camper that he moved into the property at the very rear, because he came in from Jersey with it. I gave him 5 days to get it off the property. He removed it within 5 days. Then he had a commercial trailer in the front that he was moving stuff into the garage. He removed that off the property also. And he said he was gonna turn the water on and the power last week. Still, there's no water turned on at the residence as of today.
Okay.
Is the home secure? I have a question. Jose?
Yes, sir.
Officer Silva, I mean, sorry. Is the home secure?
Excuse me?
Is the home secure?
The home is secure.
There's a broken window I saw. I
The
mean-
the window's up high.
Okay,
It's up high. It's not low where anybody can crawl in. It's up high.
okay, all right.
Mr. Nopke?
I observed there were 4 people there with the trailer, the commercial trailer that you described.
It's a big white commercial trailer. That's Mr. Green's trailer.
I know when I rode by and then went around the block and came back, they were carrying stuff out of the house. They weren't carrying anything in.
If there was a white expedition with it, that's Mr. Green's.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Green's.
It was, they were just carrying everything they could get out of the house.
So, last week he was moving in when I met him.
Okay.
So Mr. Nopke is supposed to share everything. You're supposed to share everything that,
He did say that
I drive by.
he drives by.
is there anything else you saw? I mean,
Other than that, no, I saw the trailer that you described in the back that I think was actually parked on city property. I don't know.
The travel trailer was in the very back on the city property, the brown one.
Okay.
Then he had the white commercial box one in the front, that he parked in the front.
That's the one that I saw him putting stuff in, them carrying, there were 2 women and 2 men that were carrying stuff out.
And that's the one he had last week, that he said he was moving stuff in when I ran into him.
May have carried it in, carried it out, I don't know. I just drive by it multiple times a day and have watched it get continuously worse, but
But no work has been done on the lawn?
No work has been done. As of the day when I drove by, it's still overgrown.
And there was a fine also from something before, and he was the owner,
From the staining.
and he was the owner of the property at that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you. Thank you. At this time, I call for a motion. I mean, there's no one else to speak.
I guess I'll go ahead and do it.
Please.
Based on the testimony of Code Compliance Officer Silva, presenting case and Octavia Shawan Green and Riolaine Green, presented to the board at this meeting and the documentary evidence received by the board, I make a motion that the board find Octavius Green and Real Lane Green, in case 182568 of the city code, and give the respondents,
Sections.
oh, yes.
Guilty.
Oh, and there's a lot, yeah, find them guilty and sections. Yeah, perfect. Section 10-3B, 8-102 subsection 13H, 8-102 subsection 18A, section 12901, to be guilty and accrue a fine of $250 a day until the owner provides evidence that the home is in compliance to the city.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second by Mr. Newkirk.
Did he put a date in there, the 30 days?
It's,
Did I hear any, did I hear
Oh. He
September
didn't say.
12th?
Yeah, we'll say, well, I mean, if he's out of compliance still, can we just
September
accrue it
13th.
as, from his last date that,
the one that's out of compliance has nothing to do with this.
okay, so,
It's running, so just, what, these fines will accrue on September 13th,
September 13th, 2018. Okay.
right?
Mhm. I just didn't hear him say.
No, I didn't. Thank you for,
Okay.
thank you for letting me
You
know.
get another second on that?
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay, discussion. I know there's a lot of violations, but he's just, if indeed, if indeed, he is just moving back, and he's moving back from being in the military, that I think a fine of $250 a day is a bit excessive. He is just coming back. He probably hasn't got set up yet to take action and get things cleaned up, although I think that would be a priority. But if he's just moving in as of
A week
when
ago.
you saw him, a week
Well, he-
ago?
Mr. Silva said told him he was moving in. I
So-
observed him carrying stuff out
So,
of the
I,
house.
well, my concern with it is there's a fine from months ago.
but that's not a part,
Oh, well, yeah,
Part of-
has he been in constant contact since we started trying to get in touch with him about this one? Or about these issues?
Last week was the first contact that I've ever had with Mr. Green
Okay,
when the travel trailer was on the back part of the property when I tagged it.
okay.
And he called me, and that's when we first had a dialogue with that, this first contact I ever had with him.
Okay. Well, and then if he's been in New Jersey for several years, usually the military, it's gonna have orders of, up to 3 years at any one place. What's been going on with the house that whole time?
we don't know.
So I guess
But-
that's,
But we're not here to investigate what has happened in 3 years. We're here to adjudicate on this particular case and this particular violation. Only what you heard here tonight. Not what went on yesterday, not what goes on tomorrow, but what we hear tonight.
okay.
And I think that if there's honesty on all parts, which you kind of have to assume that if he's moving in, $250 a day it accrues really fast, is
Oh,
what I'm
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to say.
Yeah.
So are we being just or are we being punitive? Are we, what is our gain if he's moving out, he's not going to pay the $250 anyway? So it's just going to accrue and accrue and accrue. But if we have any hope of bringing him into the community again and getting the place cleaned up, I think that amount is too high. That's all I'm saying. Now, should it be 50? I think that's too low, so we're in between.
I'm willing to cut it in half. We'll do 175 a day. Because again, what we've heard tonight, we know the home's been vacant for months. He's told Officer Silva that he's gonna turn the water on last week. It's still
He
not
did
on.
not.
So right there, those two things that we only heard tonight are cause for concern to me. So I'm willing to cut it in half. We'll say 175 a day.
125 is
125.
half.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 125.
I agree with that.
Okay, so we're going to amend the motion to,
$125 per day.
and it's reseconded, so, okay. Any more discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Thank you.
Our next case will be case number 182619, City versus My Green Lake LLC for property located at 8206 Broward Place. Case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 10(3)B sanitation grass weeds. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Jose Silva. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served. Chairman,
Yes?
your question?
My question. Has there been any ex parte communications on this case? Thank you. I think I need that.
No.
Please go ahead.
Good evening, Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated June 15th of 2018. My inspection at the time revealed the yard and parkway grass of the residence was overgrown. This time I issued a door hanger with a compliance date of June 18, 2018. My inspection on June 20, 2018 revealed no change, so a notice of violation was issued with the compliance date of June 30, 2018. The home was unoccupied, so I posted notice at the home as well as City Hall. Also mailed copies, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the registered owner. On June 29, I inspected the property and found the yard and the parkway grass mowed. At this time, I brought the property into compliance. On July 26, I noticed the yard grass of the residence again was overgrown, so I set it for the code board. This time, I'd like to submit a photograph of the overgrown yard grass taken by me July 26, 2018.
Board will accept.
On August 2nd, I re-inspected the property, found that the yard grass was cut. I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance. I am just looking for a finding.
Board will accept. Being no one present to speak,
Actually, was contacted by the owner 2 days ago. He was going out of the country. He advised me that he had taken the grass duties away from the tenant that's there, and he has now a service that's conducting the grass cutting at the residence.
hopefully that will make your life better.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Call for a motion, please.
I'll go for it. Based on the testimony of Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva, presented to this board at this hearing and the documentary evidence received by the board, I make a motion that the board find My Green Lake LLC in case number 18-2619 to be guilty of violating sections. Get that back. Where am I at? 26, hold on. Oh, here we go. 2619, sections 10-3, subsection B of the city code, but because the property was brought into compliance before the date of the hearing, no fine shall be assessed.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Second?
Aye.
A second, please.
I'm sorry.
Second.
It's been a bad night. Second. Mr. Newkirk. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No nays.
We'll take our last case on hearings, which is a repeat case number 183061, City versus Mike W. White trustee and Ann D. White trustee for property located at 516 Courtney Drive. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of section 12860, inoperative vehicle, outdoor parts storage. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Jose Silva. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served. Chairman, your question?
Question?
Has there been any ex parte communication in this case?
No.
Thank you.
Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This is a notice of a repeat violation. This case was presented to the board on June 13, 2018, MCEB 18-0586. This time, the board did find that a violation did occur at the property, but the property was brought into compliance before the board hearing June 11, 2018. On July 12, 2018, my inspection noted a Chevy truck in the driveway of the residence on blocks and in state of disrepair. This time, I issued door hanger with a compliance date of July 16, 2018. An inspection on July 17, 2018 revealed no change, so I issued a notice of repeat violation. At that time, I conducted service on a tenant, Ms. Vance, who resides at the residence. I also posted the notice at City Hall and also mailed copies, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the registered owner. This time, I would like to submit photographic evidence of the violations taken by me on July 17th, 2018, and a copy of the ruling from the board, ruling 18-0586.
Board will accept.
Photograph number 1 is going to show the vehicle in the driveway on blocks. Number 2 is going to show the vehicle in driveway with no engine. Number 3 is the engine compartment of the vehicle with the missing engine. And number 4 shows the engine in the carport area of the residence. As of today, the vehicle is sitting in the driveway of the residence, and the engine is still out of the vehicle and is not capable of being driven anywhere. So the property has been out of compliance since July 27th until today.
Thirteen days.
Excuse me?
13 days.
13 days.
Are there any questions of Officer Silva? Do you have any questions? It's been out for 13 days. It's a repeat violation prior to tonight. So consideration on that. Okay? What about the storage that's in there where the motor, the engine was? Is that normal, or is that?
The engine is still not in the vehicle,
uh,
so vehicle is
Undrivable.
immobile, it's not even operational. They put the tires back on the vehicle, but there's no engine in it, it's still sitting in the driveway.
And you said you spoke with the tenant?
Spoke with her on the day that I served her,
Okay. Did she say anything about kind of if they have plans to fix it, remove it, anything else?
nothing.
What about everything in the carport? I mean, is that all visible from the street, or
That's the engine.
that's the engine? Okay.
I'm sorry.
But I'm also looking at all this stuff that's just kind of,
Yeah, it's cluttered carport. Okay. That's the engine right there.
all right,
That was cluttered carport.
okay.
No code for cluttered.
Is there any code for cluttered carport
Yes,
that
there
you can
is.
see from the street, right?
I saw that when I walked up, so I didn't see it from the street.
Oh, okay. Just wondering.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Silva. Can I call for a motion, please? There being no one to speak.
I'll go for it.
Thank you.
Okay. Where is my sheet? And it's 361. Yeah. Never done repeat before. Based on the testimony of Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva, presented to this board at this hearing and the documentary evidence received by the board, I make a motion that that the board find White and trustee and White Mike White trustee as well. Where am I at? In case number 18-3061 to be guilty of a repeat violation of section 12-860 of the city code and assess a fine amount of $75 against the respondent for the days that the repeat violation has existed prior to the hearing. In addition, assess a daily fine of, I actually have a question, guys. So this is repeat violation. I'm fining them for
The 13 days plus.
plus, okay, I understand. Okay. So, assess a daily fine of $50, which shall continue to accrue until the date that the violator provides the city with evidence that the property has been brought into compliance. Did I do that right? With the 75?
What was
I did 75, and then I did 50 after, so,
50 for the 75 for the out of compliance
yes.
and for the 13 days?
I should, okay, I would
That
like to
should
make
get
an
a
amendment.
second.
I would like to, well, I'd like to, can I amend that and do 50 for the 13 days and the 75?
Yeah, that's how I thought you changed it.
Okay, I'd like to change it to that.
I'll second that.
Okay.
So it's for $50 a day for the out of compliance, is that correct?
Right.
Yes,
And 75 a day starting going forward?
Right.
yes,
That's correct, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I second.
And it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays.
Okay, we will now go into unfinished business. Case number 180268, City versus Vim Murray LLC for property located at 13304 Telecom Drive. An affidavit of compliance for section 1459 was submitted by Director Brony dated July 18th, 2018. Case number 180862, City versus BN Empire LLC for property located at 11009 North 56th Street. Expiration of compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 181403, City versus Randa Mustafa for property located at 8713 Beverly Drive. An affidavit of compliance for section 828 subsection A1 was submitted by Officer Silva dated July 12th, 2018. Case number 181786, City versus Windsor Park for property located at 10608 North 52nd Street. Expiration of compliance is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Officer Allen for 3 sections. Section 103B, 2291, 22194, so that's partial compliance only.
I just want to
Okay.
update you on that. That was the squatter case that Officer Buckland presented last month. So I just want to let you know that the squatters were evicted. And now we gained control of the property, and we just have a fence violation that's still outstanding.
Okay, very good.
Repeat case number 182006, City versus Ayman Osman and Asma Alzine for property located at 7442 Terrace River Drive. The expiration of compliance was July 12th, 2018. An affidavit of noncompliance was submitted by Officer Silva for section 12860 dated July 12th. Case number 182059, City versus Spectrum Medical Park LLC for property located at 311 Bullard Parkway A. Expiration of compliance is tonight at midnight. Director Brony?
Yes, I just want to update you on this one. The fence, which is a buffer wall, a masonry buffer wall, has been painted. And they started painting the exterior walls today, but it's still not in compliance, but they still have till midnight tonight. Just to give you an update. So they are painting the building, but it's not completed.
Okay, good. Progress is good.
Yep.
Case number 182159, City versus Josephine Jackson for 9864 Morris Glen Way. Expiration of compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 182246, City versus Paulette R. Palmer for 7906 Capwood Avenue. Expiration is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance for Section 12861B7 was submitted by Director Brony dated August 7th, 2018. And we have a few cases not on the agenda. Case number 170403, City versus Betty Morris for property located at 12902 North 53rd Street. An affidavit of compliance for Section 810213B was submitted by Director Brony dated July 16th, 2018. So that property is now in full compliance. Case number 170469, City versus Nathan A. Meyer for 107 South Greenfield Avenue. An affidavit of compliance for Section 12861B7 was submitted by Officer Silva dated July 9th, 2018. This was a property transfer. Case number 171592, City versus Timothy L. Madison for property located at 5301 Rainbow Drive. An affidavit of compliance for Section 12901 was submitted by Officer Silva dated July 17th, 2018. This was a property transfer. So if you're interested, we're down to 15 active liens. I counted today.
It's good. Thank you.
And just an update on the Betty Morris property. This was a case that Officer Buckland presented several months ago. This was a hardship property where the mother and daughter didn't have the funds to replace the siding on the dwelling. So I would think in the near future, you'll hear a lien reduction presented from me about this property. Just an FYI, this was a daughter that came to the board and they were looking for volunteers, organizations. The ones that we suggested, they all declined to get involved in the volunteer work. So, but there is a hefty lien on this property because of that. So, do you know the update? Do you know if the daughter presented a petition yet?
I have not received a petition yet,
Okay, very
but I
good.
have provided the form to her.
Okay, just an update.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, I guess I will announce that at the council meeting last night, our lien recommendation from last month was accepted. And so the petitioner was not at the council meeting. So we're in the 30-day period where he has to pay or it reverts back to its full amount.
That was for 605 West River.
For 605 West River Road. Is there any new business? Is there any?
I have
Okay,
something. I mean, so I received this today.
yes.
And it's my understanding that last meeting I wasn't here, but I guess y'all went into this in depth, but
No, not in depth. We were presented the book so that we could each have a book.
Yeah.
And just to read through, and also now include the email, and read through and just digest it. It's good information. That's where I got to the ex parte thing that I had trouble with tonight, but change is tough for an old man. But we proceed, but the main thing, well, I got you guys here, the main thing is that, in which you'll find out, is that we only deal with, comes before us, or an ex parte. And that's it. We can't bring our emotions with it. We're only hearing what we hear here in the room by the petitioner, by the presenter, and that's where we have to go. Because if we start rambling off the reservation like we have, it's has been said like a circus act, and it probably is to the public. Because we're trying to take all the scenarios that we can think of and throw them in to make our decision more difficult because we think somehow it's going to make it fair. When what's fair is what we hear from our presenters and from our people that are being charged with the violation. And that's all we can do. So when our lawyer comes here, he will put the curbs on us and keep us in line, so.
So,
uh,
speaking of the attorney,
Speaking of the attorney,
I mean, do y'all want to have a workshop in September?
that's what I'm hoping to do, to have, Mr. Stevenson is available. I don't think we can make the decision tonight, although I'm in favor of the guy from the city of Tampa,
Mr. Mueller.
Mueller. And I think he did a fine job on presenting to us, and I think that it would be in the best interest to the city for us not to be creating some other monolith that we got to try and support. And I think that their comment was made in the meeting, as long as we're here, I can discuss it, because the meeting's public knowledge, is that we as a board should interview the lawyers that's going to represent the board. What do we know? How are we going to know? So I think what Mr. Mueller did for us was he gave us the path to walk down, a guidance that we need, and I think he's the one that can provide that guidance. And I'll say this again in September, because I truly believe it. I don't think, I'm not qualified to pick a lawyer for us. I know nothing about what he would do. So I don't think we can vote on without Jamie and Sean tonight. But that's why we want to go for September.
No, yes, I agree.
Now, I just wanted to say that I've been around a few years, and we had a workshop several years ago where the attorney at that time, I believe the attorney that led it, said we were not to go and look at none of these jobs. We were
That's
supposed
correct.
to take only what was presented to us.
That's correct.
And then as far as the attorney here, we cannot predict when we're gonna need to ask a question. So I'm in favor that he's here every meeting.
Yeah, if it's, yeah, we'll discuss that more in September, but I think that with the, what do they call it? That when you, what do you call that? When you,
The intercity agreement.
the intercity agreement, yeah. Yeah,
Interlocal.
interlocal, yeah. It's not costing.
If I might
You
address-
may, being we've got off the
I
rails.
just have one thing to say. You keep talking about in September. I spoke to Mr. Mueller. He called me this morning. He said that if the city does not make a decision by our next council meeting, their offer is withdrawn because they need to move forward and get somebody to represent them. So we just had a meeting last night that you have until the next council meeting to decide. So if you're going to have a workshop, I hope that you schedule that soon and not wait till your September meeting.
When is the next council meeting?
2 weeks. Well,
Sounds
okay,
like we gotta get
that
moving.
brings a little bit of, changes the tone of this meeting.
And that's August 21st.
Pardon?
August 21st is the next council meeting.
Right. And we have to do it before then, and how are we going to do that?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to for this board to enter into the agreement that's been presented by our city manager based upon the fact, as he said, or the city attorney said, that it's a councilable agreement. It's 1 year, we can walk away with 30 days' notice. So if we get into it and we don't like it, we get out of it. But to continue to move forward without legal advice available, it's just foolish.
I agree.
I'm gonna second that with you. I think we'll make a decision tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's get
All
on
right.
with it.
We got a motion, a second? And any discussion?
There seems to be a lot of, I guess I mean, I know y'all found a motion, but there seems to be a lot of pushback on this. And I'm actually and I'll be honest, I quite don't understand why. And, but, Sean's not here, Jamie's not here.
Sean, in my opinion, would say, hey, let's get the easy one that brought this up, so let's get the attorney here. That's the way he acts, Paul.
You know, the-
Definitely to get the attorney.
yeah, the water that's under the bridge is under the bridge. What happened before?
And I wasn't here last week.
I
That's-
wasn't here.
Or last month.
Whenever it did happen. Yeah, the workshop, some of it came out, but again, some of it's serious. It appears to me some of it's hurt feelings, maybe.
And you were here last month, correct?
Yeah.
So I mean, can we talk about what transpired? I mean, I'm kind of.
It's gone, since I've been on the board, which isn't that long, it's come up a couple of times. And we start talking about stuff that's been done either by council or somebody. As far as I'm concerned, it really doesn't matter. It's what we got to do now. You can't fix yesterday, it's gone. But we can sure fix today or make sure we don't let it happen again tomorrow. And if that's getting council will help that or keep us in the boundaries, then that's what we need to do. And it seems like we've got a fair offer to partner with another municipality. Our city manager's recommended it to us. City Councilman Ross, I think, has in a kind of way recommended it to us. We have nobody else to consider, and we've got 2 weeks before the one we have the potential to have walks away. And not that should push us, but it puts us into a reality of saying, it's time to put up or shut up.
I also don't know if we'd ever get a better deal. He said that he would come to every meeting, and we don't actually have to pay anything out of pocket. Otherwise, the city's gonna have to spend however much money retaining an attorney that we don't really need to spend.
That's true. That's correct.
And this is 30 days. Basically, we just, doesn't work out, we can cancel the whole thing.
Send them a see you later letter.
Yeah, I don't see why it couldn't hurt. I mean, we do need an attorney. It's kind of
Yeah,
silly that we don't.
We do, and I think his personality fits with us. I really don't see why we would not go for this. So now that I have a motion and a second, is there any more discussion? I call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Thank you. Thank you. And at this point, I guess we move into no other new business, and so I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Newkirk. We're adjourned. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. And we didn't have any ex parte, did we?
No, not on that one.